Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2025 Toyota Camry all-wheel drive in the XSE trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 235/40 Bridgestone tires wrapped around 19-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Heavy Metal, and it's kind of like a dark silver. Really cool looking, especially matching these wheels. Now there's a lot of upgrades on this vehicle, so a lot of optional equipment, and I'll show the window sticker at the end of the video just so you can see what's going on. But it does have these optional accent lights right here, optional wheels, optional paint. So yeah, it's very important to look at the window sticker. Also have a link in the description showing and outlining all of the trim levels on the Toyota Camry, because they're all hybrid now. So it's a full hybrid lineup, and I'll have an outline, a very basic outline so you can understand it easily, of all the trim levels. So looking at this grille area, it's very similar actually. Some of the design is very similar to the Prius. We have the little camera right in here that's offset. It's just like the Prius. Parking sensors across the front, and pretty interesting grille design. It's like a silver color, gloss, everything pretty much gloss black, gloss silver, and of course the paint. Those optional accent lights, has a projector system, a dual projector LED system for the high and low beams. So I have a full night video, you can check that out if you want to see it. Also have one on the Prius as well if you want to check that out. Looking at the profile, it does have the body colored handles. The black upper portion of the side mirror is black, but also the roof right there. So this one has the optional gloss black roof. Looking pretty nice. It does look good with this color and the style of the vehicle and all that stuff too. So yeah, and the wheels. This color combination is really impressive, and I like the style. Has a pretty sporty look for a Camry now. This is what the key looks like, and it's pretty much standard Toyota key for years now. But it does have the physical key on the inside. It's a full proximity system, has the lock and unlock buttons, as well as the ability to open up the trunk. So when you press it, I like the way it completely opens it, because it's just spring loaded. So when it releases, it just opens up all the way, so you can actually access and put some groceries or whatever real quick in there. So I like the way it goes up. Now if it's raining or something, you have to consider that. And let's go ahead and press the panic. So yeah, it's a strong horn. It's not like a little beepy horn. So it's full proximity system. So it's designed to where all you have to do is put your hand behind the handle to unlock it, or put your hand over these little sensors right here to lock it. And then you have the physical key location here on the driver's side only. Take a look on the inside here. This is soft touch material here, 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 and then you have the hard touch here at the bottom. I like this combination of red. You have the red stitching here as well. And there's a little metallic strip right here, and it goes in, blends in with the handle, which is nice. I really like that. And then you have like this semi-gloss, I guess, black around the buttons. So yeah, that's pretty nice. A lot of vehicles have the gloss black, which gets fingerprints. This is a little bit better than that. And then this is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket, and then you have the regular pockets down there. They're kind of angled and kind of in this weird position, so they're okay, I guess, for certain, like bottles or whatever. Here's the threshold area. There's no fancy sill plate or anything like that. It does have a power seat here on the passenger side, and you can go up and down, forward and back, tilt as well, and then you have the tilt back. So a lot of functionality there for a passenger seat. I really liking this red. On camera it might look a little bit bright, but it's like a deep red, almost, not quite, but almost like a maroon type red. But it looks good. Looks really nice. It does have the heated and ventilated seats. You can see the perforations here. Looking really nice. It has like this little pattern to the perforations. And the heated and cooled seats, I've only used the cooled seats so far because it's summer. But yeah, they work pretty well. And pretty comfortable seats. I mean, once you get the seat adjusted properly for yourself, which took me a little while in this vehicle, they're fairly comfortable. They seem a little bit better than the previous years. Then it has like a Berber carpet floor mat here, and a little tiny bit of tapering. You can see it's kind of narrowing up in there, but overall pretty decent legroom. So there's a hard touch surface right here. non-locking glove compartment. Has a soft landing, and it has like a little shelf system in there. Really like that, so you can stack some stuff in there. You have more of that red. So this is hard touch here, but then you have the kind of like a vinyl type red, gloss black with little ripples, looking nice. Kind of blends in with the vent. And then the dash is a kind of rubbery, soft, non-reflective surface. You can see a little bit more of that kind of matte black or semi-gloss right in here. And it has a huge panoramic sunroof, which is part of the options. So you can see the door opening here in the front, and the swing of the door is nice. So getting in and out, no problem. Here in the back, the swing of the door could be a little bit more, I would think. But overall, it's fine as far as getting in and out. It's plenty of room, actually. Once you get inside the vehicle, it's pretty impressive amount of room in the back seat. It's really well done. So the door is hard touch surfaces. You know, the only surfaces that are soft is this vinyl type material here and here around your arm, but it has that little metallic strip, red stitching here as well, and then you have little pockets there. And the back seat does have the armrest with cup holders, really soft. You can lift that up out of the way. And the back seat's huge. And it's basically a bench seat, so you can get in, slide around, no problem. And it does have the ISOFIX or latch system for car seats. Now it has these little covers that come off to access it, and then you're going to lose these. So I wish they had a little bit different system, and they kind of, you can see them all the time, you know. There's pockets on the back of both front seats. Here, matte pockets. There is some climate control vents here in the center. USB-A, USB-C ports back here, which are covered. And then there's a significant hump there in the center. But yeah, overall, I was pretty impressed with the legroom back here, and also the room as far as folding the seats down. You don't have to pull these front seats up. Take a look at the back of the vehicle. It has a body-colored shark fin antenna. Now, this is the black roof, so which blends in with the gloss black little shark fin antenna there. Now, it has a third brake light here at the base of the glass, a little deck lid spoiler, which is gloss black, looking pretty cool. And there's a little accent, which the Camry name is blacked out within the accent. Kind of looks pretty neat. Now it has full LED taillights back here. And once again, we're going to look at this at night, see how it performs and everything. The backup camera is actually pretty decent condition, position. I mean, it's right here in the very center. So it would be nicer if it was a little bit higher, like up here and integrated with this badge or something. But the fact that they put it in the center is such a relief. I've been waiting for years for Toyota to start putting their cameras in the center. Now, for some reason, the one in the front is, you know, offset for some reason, but this one is right there in the center, which is great. So, parking sensors back here, integrated here into the bumper. Now, I'm looking down here. You can see this is a little reflector. This is not a light, but below that, you can see the exhaust is visible. Now, you notice one has a little bit of dirt in it, a little bit of soot, and the other one looks shiny clean. So tells me that one is a fake one, is what it looks like, or at least less exhaust is flowing through it. Opening up the trunk, you can of course use the key, or you can press a button, which is kind of in the weird spot. It's between this R and that Y, kind of in here, so it's in the middle, so that's the only reference point. So you can press that, and once again, it springs right on up. The underside of the trunk is carpeted, and the inside of the trunk is very spacious. I was kind of surprised. Thought they would have some kind of petition or something for the battery to get in the way or something like that. You can fold the seats down. It's a 60-40 split. It goes here on the left side pretty good. It has this little hook here, so you can put in a net pocket if you'd like. It's not really a tie down, it's more for the net pocket. Here on the right side, same thing, has those little hooks there. The battery is actually located in here. So we can lift that back, you can see that. Adds a little bit of weight back here. Now this is the 12-volt battery, of course. The hybrid battery is not is a different system. It does have some exposed metal, wires, that kind of stuff. And the release for the seats are here. And it's pretty interesting because you don't really have to pull the seats up much to fold the seats down. So a lot of room in the back seat. Okay, so this lifts up. And it has this little plastic hook here. So you can kind of hook it right there. And this is where you'll find the spare tire. Like I said, they did a pretty good job of hiding the hybrid battery and giving you all the space you would normally have. So it has a 4 diameter spare tire, tools and everything back here. All looking good. This part right here is kind of flimsy, but it rests on that floor, that basically styrofoam floor, pretty good. So once it's down, it doesn't sag or anything too much. It's pretty stable. It doesn't slide around too much, so not too bad. Now it is a 60-40 split, and the seats are quite a bit higher actually than the cargo area. So, you know, it's not like a completely flat floor or anything, of course. And it's a little bit narrow, but it does give you the ability to add to some cargo space while still maintaining passenger space with that 60-40 split. There is a locking fuel door, and it's here on the driver's side. And it doesn't lock with the vehicle, though. You have to press the button to release it. It does have traditional cap, tether, and a little place to hang the cap here while you're pumping gas. As long as the key's inside the vehicle, just press and hold the brake and press this button to start it up. And since this is a hybrid, the engine is not going to start usually. It'll just turn everything on and slowly turn the climate control on. The climate control turns on so slow, it's kind of like it's a passive-aggressive, you know, withholding the air conditioning when it's steaming hot, and it's like slowly turns on. And you're like, come on, blast some air, I'm hot. But that's the way this vehicle is. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat, and it has the floor mat that hooks in place. Unlike the other side, you can see the little hooks right there. So this one has a sporty pedals, aluminum with the raised rubber surfaces there. And there's the footrest, which is good. It's all good, hadn't any problem with it. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center, just right in here, and you lift up on it, and then you got to lift up on this really heavy steel hood. Man, they could have made an aluminum hood or something to make this a little bit lighter, I think. And it requires a prop to hold it up. So there's the prop there, and it swings down right where that arrow's pointing. It does have some insulation there on the underside of the hood. There's also seals all the way around the engine compartment, and they do a good job of making this vehicle a lot quieter than most Toyotas. Usually when I get in a Toyota and it has a hybrid, then the engine turning on and off is like jarring sometimes. It's so loud. It's like, why do they make it so loud? It's just, if the engine's going to turn on and off all the time, then, you know, make it a little bit quieter so it's not jarring. So this one actually achieves that. It's actually quiet and you don't really notice it. It's such a smooth transition, both mechanically, but also you don't really hear it. So I don't know what they did, but they did a good job on this. Very, very impressed with the change. They're catching up with other manufacturers as far as that goes anyway. So this is like a foam type cover on top of the engine, and it's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, and it's oriented as a front-wheel drive vehicle. So you can see the front of the engine is here, back of the engine's here. Now this is an all-wheel drive, so it's able to, you know, deliver power to the rear wheels. Now it is a eCVT system transmission, so it's electronic continuously variable transmission, and you basically get the CVT experience. You know, it's not like it's, you know, it has different speed ratios, and it does have paddle shifters once you can change those speed ratios and stuff, but you know, it's, you know, you're not it feels fine. It's just it doesn't have a standard regular transmission is what I'm getting at with the hybrid system. So 232 horsepower combined with the engine and the hybrid system, and it gets like 44, 45 on paper. I've been getting in about 39 miles per gallon, just a lot of highway driving and back roads and stuff like that. And you notice that they braced in these suspension towers. Here, there's this brace across the back here. It's kind of hidden, but it helps out because this front end, the vehicle feels very solid. And especially the steering and everything, it just feels like you're on a rail. It's really, really good. Now this vehicle has the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, and front cross traffic alert. And a little indicator is here on the side mirror. When there's a vehicle in your blind spot, it'll illuminate there. So the driver's side door is basically just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So we have the power windows here. So it's one touch up and down. There's laminated glass up here. The back windows, same thing, one touch up and down, but they're not laminated glass. And they go up and down quite fast. Door locks are here, and then the side mirror is just adjusted here. You just turn it, pick a side, and adjust it like a little joystick. Now it doesn't have power folding or anything like that. So the driver's seat is powered once again, and the only difference really is that this one has a two-way lumbar adjustment. You can go up and down, tilt, all that stuff. So yeah, these red leather seats look nice. And 3-stage heated, 3-stage cooled. Feels really good. To the left of the steering column, there's quite a few buttons here. So there is the automatic high beams. You can turn those on or off. That's the on button. This is the off button for the traction control. So default is on. If you need to spin tires for whatever reason, you can turn it off here. This is the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. You just press it and just rest on the one that you want. It's kind of low tech, I guess. This is to turn on a really good camera system, 360 camera system. And then this is to release the trunk and to open up the fuel door, which we already saw. Has a telescoping steering column as well. You lock in place here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And it's way too far back for me to drive. So I definitely have to pull it up quite a ways in order to reach the pedals properly. But yeah, there's lots of room here to the left, to the right. This is a hard surface, but it's kind of like flat. So if my leg touches it, it's not really a big deal. It's not protruding out or anything like that. There's plenty of room already. So yeah, this is all good as far as the legroom and the comfort. The seat's pretty good once I got it positioned properly. The steering wheel has some good thickness, and it's soft too, so it feels really good. Very comfortable. The stitching doesn't stick out and get in the way. It does have a contrast stitching, which makes it match the rest of the vehicle and, you know, just look really nice. So yeah, I like it when the steering wheels have a good thickness and they're not too hard. Because otherwise, if it's like a really hard steering wheel, it kind of digs into your hand while you're driving and that kind of stuff. So this is perfect, actually. So it does have some very useful buttons here on the steering wheel. And, you know, basically this is what Toyota is going to look like with they have the Toyota Prius. It looks like this, and, you know, this is their style now. So the cruise control is over here. Now you have the radar adaptive cruise control with the lane keep assist system, or you can change that if you want just regular cruise control. You can set and resume here, cancel, and adjust the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you with the adaptive part. Here on the left side here, this is the arrows and OK, and this back button corresponds with the screen. We'll get to that in a minute. The phone button is here, so this is the same button to answer and the same button to hang up. The volume for the radio is here. Now you notice a little section here at the bottom is separate. So you have the volume for the radio, voice recognition, and this is like a toggle switch up and down. And then left and right for the change to the tracks or the radio station or whatever you happen to be playing. And then the mode is to change the audio source. Now, like a cryptic combination, basically, if you press and hold the mode button is how you mute the radio. Instead of having this push in, you press and hold the mode button to mute the radio, or you can just press this. Now, the reason why I point that out is like it's very non-intuitive, you know. So I thought that was kind of odd. Now it does have the paddle shifters, and the paddle shifters change the speed ratio. So this has an eCVT system. So just like you have gears, the paddle shifters work in the same way. So it has basically a stepped acceleration is when you use this. So you can step down or step up. And it actually has a standard mode here on the shifter, which you can engage. Windshield wiper controls are here, and it's pretty standard. And then the turn signals here, but it also has a headlight switch. And I showed this in the night video. You can actually turn the daytime running lights off. At nighttime, though, this turns off the headlights, and you can drive with the headlights off if you need to. Automatic parking, and the headlights there. Now the automatic high beams, just want to point this out again, does have a light, and it's very easy to get to. So far I hadn't had any problem with the automatic high beams working. You know, the function is fine so far, but if you need to, you can quickly turn it off. I like the way they can do that, and that you don't have to go into some sub menu on the screen to turn it off. Now right in here is a little camera and illuminators that keep an eye on your face. And basically, if let's say you're driving and you put your hand over it or something like that, or if you're just like, you know, whatever it thinks you're not paying attention to the road, the car, then it's going to beep at you and you know, make a bunch of you know, complaints here on the screen. Now in the future, this might develop into something more like a you know, like stop your vehicle, or might not even let you drive. I don't know, but the driver monitoring systems are being implemented now in vehicles. The gauge cluster is basically a screen. Now typically when you replace the gauges with a screen, you make it to where you don't have just gauges anyway, you know, so, or have something special, or have it customizable or something like that. This one is slightly customizable, and it does take advantage of the screen somewhat, but I wish it was a little bit more, you know, more customizable anyway. So right now it shows a digital speedometer there in the center, outside temperature, has a digital clock. This is the status of the hybrid system. So as you're driving, it's using power, and then basically when you're coasting or braking, it has a blended braking system. So this needle will go down into the charge, so it actually uses that wasted energy as you're braking or going downhill coasting to recharge the battery. So that's good. So it has that little meter right there. And this is the engine coolant temperature here. And then you have, of course, the fuel gauge here on the right side, and just another dial speedometer. And then you notice it has this information here in the center, here, and there in the middle. So if you press these buttons right here, you can cycle through different options. So if I scroll to the right and left, it'll basically cycle through different information. It'll just kind of bring it over, and all three of them will change. Now if we press and hold the OK button, then we can make selections here. So if we want to change this particularly, this one or this one, we can do that. So if we want to change that to audio, have a blank screen here, fuel economy, eco score, EV ratio, navigation. So we can adjust that. We can go through here, go into the settings, stored messages, have a blank in the middle. Driving support is what we had before. Scrolling here, energy monitor, tire pressure, all-wheel drive system, blank. Driving support, drive info, trip A. So that's where we started, was trip A. So yeah, it shows you the different ones that you can have here. So once you get it set up the way you want it, then you can still scroll to the right and left, and it'll give you different information, but at least you can set up one of the screens the way you want it, which is kind of neat. I'm going to go into settings. Alright, so we can go in here and make adjustments, turn on or off different features here. And then it has meter settings here. You can change the meter type to the dials, sensor dial, go back. We can have just a kind of more minimalist look, but you notice it still maintains the information there. All right, so let's just see the widget there. Go back out of there, back out. There we go. So that's more the minimal view right here, which does away with the dials. But you notice it's basically the same information in the same spot. It's just it takes away the dials. So, you know, it's not like it transforms the screen completely. Now, that was the meter type. If we go to meter style, Then we have Smart, Casual, Tough, and Sporty. So once again, not huge differences, but it gives you some level of customization here. Okay, so there is the dials with the Tough theme, I guess. And so we can go down here to the dial type. And we have the hybrid system, which is the little meter I was talking about. Or if you want a tachometer, you can have that. Now there's lots of times in which the engine's not running, so the tachometer will just go to 0. But if you want a tachometer, you can add it here if you need to. I'm kind of scroll through the rest of the settings here so you can see what it looks like. The main screen here is fairly simple. There's a lot of the settings for the vehicles in here. And so this one does have some settings, but it's more simplified. So this, you can see the icons stay here on the sides. And so this first one is the navigation. But you notice that it just says Experience Drive Connect. And basically you have to subscribe to, there's a lot of, it has cloud navigation, right? So, and without getting your phone and installing an app, so like we say, get started. First thing you're going to have to do is install a mobile app. And when you install a mobile app, there is a lot of privacy statements that you have to agree to, privacy notices and privacy agreements. So yeah, without, you know, downloading the app and going through all the privacy, basically compromises, then the vehicle doesn't have the navigation. All right, so you have the Bluetooth system or audio and different audio sources here. So we have the different audio sources, which I just pair my phone, and that's how I use the radio. Now it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well, that you can display on the screen, and that will give you the ability to have a lot of other features added to the system. And then your different phones here, that'll, once you have them paired, I have it disconnected right now just to show it, but you can actually have lots of them paired, and it'll be like on a priority system. All right, so now it's the vehicle information. So you have the climate control, you have comfort, trip information, vehicle alerts, which is none now. And then you can go into the settings here at the bottom. And then you can pair Bluetooth device. General is here. Notifications. Wi-Fi. You can set up a hotspot. You're going to adjust display. You have the screen, and then you have the camera adjustments here. Sound and media, and the radio. Customize the vehicle. There's the lights, illumination, door controls, climate controls, utility here. So this will be your adaptive cruise control. I like beat the horn. All right. So yeah. So there's all the different settings there. So there you go. That's the basic rundown of how you navigate through the system, and it works well. This has the JBL sound system, which really sounds good, even with the Bluetooth system. It sounds really, really good. Very impressed with that. Then you have the climate control buttons down here, physical buttons. You have heated and cooled seats here, and it's a 3-stage. So it's high, medium, and low for the cooled, high, medium, and low for the heated seat. Same for the passenger. And then you have the driver and passenger temperatures, and then you can recirculate the air. You can have the air focus mostly on the front, not the back, if you have that button activated. Front and rear defrosters are here, and then you can toggle down where you want the air to flow here, and then the heated steering wheel. So the heated steering wheel is here in the center. So it's automatic, high, and low, and then off. I like these vents. They look pretty cool and easy to use. And when you pull this down, it kind of blocks off the top part. So if you want to angle it up, you can, but as you pull it down, it just kind of blocks off the top and mostly focuses on the bottom, which comes in handy sometimes. So there's two USB-C ports here, USB-A port, and a little storage compartment here. And there's like a rubber bottom floor. And there's a wireless charger. It actually works well, even with my cell phone case. And it holds the phone nicely in place. It doesn't slide around. Has little side pieces here. Cup holders are here. And once again, it has like a rubber floor in the bottom, and it's open there in the center. It's actually open this way as well. Here's a shifter. Let's go ahead and put it in reverse. The camera system is excellent. So it has the top-down view, and it has the front and back view. So right now it's showing the back view, but if we go to drive, we can see the front view. And we can change the different views here. So it has this view. So actually when you drive, it'll, let me turn the wheel a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So you can see it gives it that angle, or turn the steering wheel this way, it gives you that angle. So if you're creeping through a parking lot or a parking lot, you can kind of get a different view here with the camera system. Change that. The front view does have the active guidelines as well, and it has the ability to have the automatic function. So when you slow down, which is great, I really like that Toyota's had this for a while now, it'll automatically turn on this camera system. Now even if you turn this off, if the parking sensors activate, then it will pop the cameras up so you can see what's going on. So yeah, the camera system is really good. So as I drive, you can see those lines right there, and as I move, you'll notice that it fills in what it saw in front of the vehicle. So it's actually filling in what's in front of the vehicle right now, and so it displays it as if the vehicle is now invisible. And you can see the angle of the front wheels, you can see the active guidelines there, and you can see it's filling it all the way in. And you can see this line right here, it's almost perfectly lined up. And the first time I saw this was in a Lexus, and now it's in the Toyotas. All right, so now if I back up, you can see we're still maintaining that image underneath the vehicle. Once we get a clear view, now we're getting a shadow under it because there's a shadow behind the vehicle. But yeah, it gives you that view of what's underneath the vehicle based on what it saw around the vehicle. So as you move, it just lines it up. So yeah, pretty straightforward shifter. You do have that standard mode. You can use the paddle shifters, or you can bump it like this to change to the speed ratios on the EU CVT. Now it has the Eco, Normal, and Sport drive modes here. And when you press the button, it pops up here on the screen. Looks pretty cool. So there's Eco, there's Normal, and then there's Sport. And I mean, it does a pretty good job of giving you more acceleration and all that stuff with the Sport. Normal is well-rounded. I mean, it has great acceleration already. So the Sport is not really necessary. Some vehicles like Normal is too weak, and this one doesn't really have that problem. Eco is a little bit on the weak side, and it also cuts down on the climate control, and when it's like 100 degrees outside, I don't like to do that. Here's the brake hold feature, and it holds the brake for you when you come to a complete stop until you hit the accelerator anyway. You can force the vehicle into EV mode, which will basically try to use as much just electricity as, like, it tries to keep it in EV and not use the engine. Now, it's very limited on that, on how far you can drive it. But if you want to sneak, let's say you're getting home late and you want to pull in the driveway kind of more quietly, you can do that. Now, when you lock the vehicle with the key, sometimes it like beeps like 7 or 8 times for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I've experienced that with other Toyotas. For some reason, you hit the lock button and it's like beep, 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 beep. So that kind of ruins your surprise when you try to sneak home. Electronic parking brake. It engages the rear wheels when you lift it up, and you push it, hold the brake here, and then push it down to release it. So this is a nice big armrest, and it's not super soft though. It's like soft for like 3 millimeters, and then it's this hard surface underneath. But it's still fine. When you rest your arm on it, it's not really a big deal. This lifts up and it's kind of spring-loaded, so it doesn't flat back down on you, but has a little bit of a drop. It's quite long, you know, but it's good. It's good for your arm. Once it's up out of the way, it has this just basically a compartment here where you can put all your junk in there. There's my business cards getting in the way. But it has a felt lining at the bottom, and then there's a 12-volt power supply. But there's no light. It's a little spoiler for the night video. There's no light in here. The rear view mirror is an auto dim rear view mirror, and it has the home link garage door opener controls under here. And there is the sunroof controls we'll get to in a second. It has a roadside assistance button, and then it has the individual reading lights, driver, passenger. You can turn on all the interior lights here, or you can have them turn on with the door, or you can turn that feature off. The visors are cloth, just like the headliner, and it has a mirror with a light over here. Now these extend out, these little side things right here extend out, so it doesn't slide out. So these things kind of add to your coverage, basically, without just shifting it. It worked pretty well. Hadn't really had a problem with it. Now, there's a huge panoramic sunroof in an all-wheel drive hybrid Camry. So it has this shade that covers 100% of the light. And let's go ahead and slide that back. Goes all the way back fairly fast. That back portion is fixed, the front portion is able to move, so let's go ahead and lift it up, pull it back down. Now let's slide it. Pull it back again. All right, that's as far back as it goes. So it doesn't go back that far, about halfway or so. But I do like the way the shade covers it up 100%, because on a hot day, you just don't want the sun on you. Taking a look at the visibility, it has a little bit of a wide pillar there, but not really a big deal. Looking over my shoulder, it hasn't been a problem at all, really. That headliner, that headrest there kind of lines up with the pillar. But yeah, I mean, it has the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, front cross traffic alert, parking sensors, 360 camera system that's highly customizable and different views and everything. So yeah, driving the vehicle is not a problem. The visibility is not a problem. I haven't experienced anything like that in this vehicle. Here's a good example of when this camera system comes in handy. Right now, you see this red Jeep in front of me. Well, it looks like we've got plenty of room, right? Well, let's put it in drive, and you see that it's giving us a little yellow indicator here, and it'll beep at us if we pull up a little bit. The reason why is because it has this little cargo tray on the back of this Jeep. So you can't see it with your eyes, but you can see it. The parking sensors will see it, and also it'll show up here on the camera. So yeah, the parking sensors works with the camera and gives you little bar indicators when it senses something here visually on the screen. So that's fantastic. And it has the rear cross traffic alert, but it also has the front cross traffic alert. So let's say you're pulling out and maybe you just don't see a car. The only problem is it doesn't really, until the car is actually visible in front of you, it doesn't really give you much of a notice. It's not like it sees down the road a ways, you know. If there's a fast car coming, it's not really going to give you a notice in time. But the idea is that if there's a car coming from either direction here in front of you, before you pull out, if you don't see it because there's an obstruction or a car in the way, but they see the camera has this wide view that looks both ways. Same thing behind you. You're able to see both ways here on the front. So this is actually better to me than the front cross traffic alert. But it also gives you a little indicator on the HUD as well. Now the HUD is is one of those things where it is mostly too dim on this vehicle, and it seems to have like the adaptive brightness, so a lot of times it's just too dim. And the only part really I can tell is the speedometer. The rest of it's kind of sometimes just you can't really see it. I mean, it's fine. I'm glad they included it and all that stuff, but I think it could have been better implemented. So the engine, although you can hear a little bit, is a lot quieter than the previous, pretty much any other Toyota I've driven has been loud. And when the engine turns on and off constantly on a hybrid, and when the engine is like wah, loud and stuff like that, it really takes away from the, you know, if I don't know, it just makes you feel like you're in a cheap vehicle, or it's a vehicle that's, you know, just not refined or whatever. But this one, they did a great job of making that whole transition much smoother and quieter. So glad to see the changes that they made here. And it's very responsive. The hybrid system with the engine and all that stuff. The acceleration, steering is solid, it's smooth, relatively quiet. You know, all the things that I usually, well, most things that I usually have a problem with Toyota, they actually addressed them. You know, putting the camera in the back in the very center, quieting the engine, and having a, you know, just an overall quiet experience in general, not just the engine. But yeah, it feels like a big improvement this year. 2025 is like a big improvement compared to, you know, the incremental ones we've seen in the past. Now, one thing I would say that, you know, I don't really care for, just me personally, is this divider over here. It just kind of like, what's the purpose? It just kind of makes you feel more boxed in. You know, if this is more open, it'll be better. Also, the passenger can access the compartment a little bit better. You know, and that's the way the other one was too, and I didn't really care for it. But other than that, I made it less in the way, I guess. But yeah, steering wheel is well done, I think, for the most part, except for the disconnected mute button. And so yeah, a few more improvements, and they'll eventually get it perfect, I guess. But yeah, it's a much better vehicle than what it used to be. All right, let's go ahead and put it in sport mode. The acceleration has been impressive, both this vehicle and the Toyota Prius, actually. And this is like the Toyota Crown, Toyota Prius, put it together, and then you have the Camry now. And as far as the acceleration, passing, braking, everything has been fine. Now, it has this feature where when you're on the highway like this, when you put the turn signal on certain highways, that it's not doing it on this one, but on certain highways, it'll have like this lane change assist system. And the problem is, it's supposed to help you change lanes, I guess. You still have to have your hands on the steering wheel, so I'm not sure what the purpose of it is. But when you turn your head to check for the blind spot, as soon as I turn my head and look, the camera system recognizes that I'm not looking forward anymore, and it disables the system. So I guess it you know, I don't know, there's some refining that needs to be done there, because you can't rely on the blind spot detection system, because there's vehicles that could be like 2 inches behind you that are going faster than you, that's going to be in your blind, in your right beside you, right? But it's not showing on the blind spot system, and you might not still be able to see them. So you can't rely on that. You have to check your blind spot, and when you do that, the system recognizes that you're not looking at forward anymore, and then it disables it. So yeah, it did it over and over again. I was like, I thought this highway was going to have it, but apparently not. It was another highway I was on, and I was just didn't have my camera and everything, but thought it was a odd implementation where it relies on you to look forward while you're changing lanes, which doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the quietness, the smoothness, and all that stuff is really well done on the highway. Much better. I think it would be a good highway vehicle. If you like a sedan, you know, like if you like that sitting closer to the ground feel and everything, and not the SUV feel, then I think this would be a good choice for a lot of people if you want a hybrid. Now I'm getting around 39 miles per gallon, 38, 39 miles per gallon. The window sticker says it's a little bit higher than that, but that's just what I've been getting. Maybe you can get better if you use eco mode or whatever. I've been using normal mode most of the time, and sport just for fun right there, but most of the time it's normal, because normal is plenty of power, plenty of acceleration, plenty of responsiveness, for me anyway.